AI Showdown Splits Republicans in High-Stakes Endotox by Julia Shapiro and Sudik Shakochi. A battle among Republican lawmakers over the future of U.S. AI policy is threatening to hold up a must-pass annual defense bill. Lawmakers are wrestling over whether to halt state AI regulations and other thorny AI provisions in final negotiations over the National Defense Authorization Act (NDAA), one of the heaviest legislative lifts in any congressional year. President Trump and the White House are pushing Republicans to include a provision banning state AI laws in the NDAA, provoking a fight with tech-skeptical GOP lawmakers. We must have one federal standard instead of a patchwork of 50 state regulatory regimes, Trump wrote in a Truth Social post last month. Republicans were already split over a state AI regulation ban in May when such a provision was included in the reconciliation bill. The Senate ended up removing the provision after backlash from progressive Democrats and hardline conservatives in both chambers. The issue reared its head again in late November as House GOP leadership considered adding a last-minute preemption provision to the NDAA. This sparked outcry from key Republicans, including Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Georgia, Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. There should not be a moratorium on states' rights for AI. States must retain the right to regulate and make laws on AI and anything else for the benefit of their state. Federalism must be preserved, Greene wrote on the social platform X. After publicly voicing support for the effort, Trump appeared to be considering an executive order that would have unilaterally sought to limit state AI regulations, creating a task force dedicated to challenging state AI laws and restricting broadband funding to states with AI measures deemed too restrictive by the administration, according to a draft seen by The Hill. The Trump administration, which has developed close relationships with Silicon Valley in the president's second term, has pushed for a light-touch regulatory regime. It has bristled at wide-ranging state efforts, particularly in California, to rein in the technology with laws that the administration contends will stifle innovation at a key moment in the AI race with China. However, House GOP leaders reportedly urged the White House to delay the executive order as they seek to include the measure in the defense bill. More than 200 state lawmakers sent a letter to Congress in late November urging their federal counterparts to reject the provision, arguing that states are better positioned to govern AI as the technology evolves. After years without comprehensive federal action on privacy and social media harms, a broad preemption of state and local AI laws until Congress acts would set back progress and undercut existing protections, they wrote. Leadership can also expect opposition from House Republicans, like Reps Chip Roy, Republican from Texas, and Thomas Massie, Republican from Kentucky, who previously have expressed concerns about AI preemption. Lawmakers are set to unveil the text of the NDAA this week, with votes expected to follow soon after. The final push on the defense bill comes amid a busy 3-week stretch at the end of the year, in which Congress is also seeking to tackle expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies and government funding. Even if Republicans were aligned on the issue, the preemption provision faces a difficult path forward given the need for Democratic support to clear the 60-vote threshold in the Senate. Senators Ed Markey, Democrat from Massachusetts, and Elizabeth Warren, Democrat from Massachusetts, in a November 20th letter to their Democratic colleagues, urged them to reject any version of the NDAA that includes the provision. Democrats have direct control over whether the AI moratorium is enacted into law. Our message should be simple. Congress should not give big tech a multi-year holiday from state oversight, they wrote. Owen Tedford, a senior research analyst at Beacon Policy Advisors, said he has a difficult time seeing the provision getting the support of Democrats in the Senate, and certainly enough to be included in the final legislation. I am also still not sure that all the issues that prevented its inclusion in the big, beautiful bill have been resolved in the Senate, he added. This is really something that has been pushed most aggressively by the White House and House Republican leadership. Senator Ted Cruz is on board, yes, but I am not sure that there is a huge groundswell of support in the Senate Republican caucus and certainly among Senate Democrats. Cruz also faces pressure from a group of bipartisan Texas state senators, who sent a letter to him and Senator John Cornyn, Republican from Texas, on November 24, urging them not to enact an AI moratorium in federal law. The letter was spearheaded by Republican Texas State Senator Angela Paxton. Another key AI-related point of contention in the ENDA has been the Guaranteeing Access and Innovation for National Artificial Intelligence GAIN AI Act, a measure that has underscored GOP divisions over AI chip sales. The measure, which cleared the Senate in early October as part of the Mammoth Defense Bill, sought to require chip makers to give U.S. companies first pick on advanced AI chips before allowing them to sell to China or other countries of concern. The provision was put forward as an amendment by Sens. Jim Banks, Republican from Indiana, and Warren. They were joined by a broader bipartisan group in introducing a standalone bill in November, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York and Sens, Tom Cotton, Republican from Arkansas, Chris Coons, Democrat from Delaware, and Dave McCormick, Republican from Pennsylvania. The White House has reportedly fought against the inclusion of the GAIN AI Act in the defense bill, highlighting an existing split with Republican China hawks. After initially restricting sales of NVIDIA's HTO chips to China, Trump reversed course this summer and agreed to allow sales for a 15% cut of revenue, prompting bipartisan concerns, including from Representative John Moulinar, Republican from Michigan, chair of the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. In the face of White House and industry opposition, Tedford suggested the GAIN AI Act faces an uphill battle. It speaks to the competing interests around AI, where you have to balance these national security concerns on one hand and the innovation desires to be global leaders in AI on the other hand, he said. I would imagine that there are similar fault lines that might exist among the Democratic Party, but they just have not been as present with them being in the minority in both chambers. So they have not had to face those issues in the same way that Republicans have. The onus of legislating is not on them, Tedford added.